Welcome back to our podcast series where we unpack the intricate world of politics. I'm thrilled to see so many of you tuning in for our second lecture on political participation. Today, we're diving deep into the details of how and why citizens engage in different forms of political action.
That's right. We'll explore the landscape of political participation, unpacking the key differences between conventional and unconventional forms. And I think it's worth noting that political participation is not just about what people are doing, but also about what people are feeling and thinking regarding their political environment.
Absolutely correct. So let's start with the basics. What do we mean when we talk about political participation?
Political participation refers to how much citizens actually use their rights to influence government action. This includes voting, of course, but it also encompasses free speech, assembling for rallies, and joining political groups. Even choosing not to vote is a form of participation. It expresses a range of sentiments, from apathy to active protest against the system.
Ah, yes, that's a crucial point. Participation doesn't just mean taking action, it also reflects reactions. Voter turnout is often seen as the main measure of political participation, but we have to recognize that other forms of engagement are equally significant.
Exactly. Now let's delve deeper into conventional political participation. This is the safer, more accepted approach that follows established rules and norms. Think of it as a structured way to engage within the system, a bit like following the rulebook in a game.
That's a great analogy. Conventional participation includes activities such as voting in elections, attending political meetings, joining a political party, or even communicating with representatives. It has been historically the backbone of democracy. However, there's a concerning trend. Voter turnout is on the decline, particularly in some regions like the Commonwealth Caribbean.
Right. Data suggests that in the Caribbean, after the introduction of adult suffrage, the right for all adult citizens to vote, there was an exhilarating surge in voter participation during the mid-20th century. Yet by the 1990s, we saw a marked decline. Voter turnout dropped significantly, with averages plummeting from the mid-70% range down to around 65%. Quite the drop, right?
It is, and this phenomenon isn't confined to the Caribbean. We've observed a similar decline in many long-established democracies globally. This raises the question, what's going on? It's not just about economic status or development, it signals a deeper change in citizens' relationships with political structures.
Spot on. When fewer people participate in voting, we encounter several issues. Governments may represent an ever narrower segment of the population, while marginalized groups like the youth or the economically disadvantaged find their voices stifled. It becomes a cycle that risks the very foundation of democracy.
So let's pivot to discuss what's happening with unconventional political participation. This form is a marked departure from conventional methods. It's often more assertive, confrontational, and can even break the law. It challenges the norm and shakes up the status quo in various powerful ways.
Unconventional participation often manifests through street protests, roadblocks, sit-ins, and large demonstrations. These acts serve as direct challenges to authorities. Protesters are demanding critical issues like job security, access to resources, or equality, issues that can no longer be ignored.
That's a powerful image. And speaking of powerful images, there was a significant surge in protests in Jamaica from the late 1980s through the late 1990s. Interestingly, during that same time, general election voter turnout actually declined. So there's a clear correlation. We're witnessing a kind of political shift where people seek alternative ways to voice their concerns.
Yes, it's fascinating to think about. Another key question arises: why do we see this paradox of fewer votes being cast alongside increasing protests?
Well, one major factor is disillusionment with political parties and leaders. Citizens often perceive parties as too similar, too corrupt, or disconnected from everyday lives. When there's a belief that whoever wins, nothing changes, the act of voting may feel futile compared to making noise in the streets.
Exactly. Economic hardships can drive this trend too. High unemployment rates, stagnant wages, and rising prices drive individuals away from the ballot box and into protest. If repeated elections lead to no tangible improvements, it's little wonder they may lose faith in the electoral process.
And let's not forget a critical factor: mistrust in institutions. If electoral processes are perceived as flawed or biased, there's precious little incentive for citizens to rely on them, prompting them to pursue direct action instead.
It's a complex web we're weaving here. With the rise of social media and global news, people find inspiration from protest movements worldwide. They see that roadblocks and sit-ins effectively draw attention to issues elsewhere and begin to adopt those tactics closer to home.
This presents both an exciting opportunity and a challenge. Lower voter turnout doesn't necessarily reflect apathy. In fact, it may signify a redirection of political energy towards more dynamic forms of engagement.
Now, why should this matter to our listeners, especially those among us contemplating their own political participation? Understanding these participation patterns is crucial since the health of democracy hinges on citizen engagement.
Right. If political engagement is primarily conventional, with more people voting or joining parties, that typically results in stable, structured political environments. But if we see a pivot towards unconventional participation, we can expect more volatility and potentially more intense clashes between citizens and government.
So both participation forms have their place. We need to find a balance. It's vital to facilitate healthy political discourse and action without descending into chaos.
As we wind down, let's spark some introspection among our listeners. When are they prepared to lend their voice to a cause through signing a petition, attending a meeting, or casting a vote? And when might they feel compelled to take to the streets instead?
That's a great way to tie everything together. Their answers can help situate them on the political participation map. As we prepare to move forward into our next lecture, we'll be diving into political culture, everything from the values to the attitudes that drive our actions and judgments in politics.
Thank you for your insightful responses today. We've traversed the rich landscape of political participation, discussing the decline of conventional voting and the rise of protests. It's crucial to remember that both forms play a pivotal role in shaping our democratic engagements.
Indeed. As we continue this journey through the complexities of political behavior, let's keep the conversation going. Remember, every action or inaction, be it voting or protesting, forms part of our collective political experience. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to exploring more together in our next episode.